Hello students, welcome to the Department of Collegiate and Technical Education Digital Learning Management System. In today's session, I am going to explain one of the popular software development process model, that is Rational Unified Process Model. Before starting our today's session topic, let's brief on whatever we have learnt on the previous session. That is waterfall model, prototyping model and iterative model. Whatever the model is, each model has to follow the basic 7 phases of software development lifecycle. That is the requirement specification and design and analysis, implementation, test, deployment, and then project maintenance, and the last thing is configuration management. See, these 7 basic phases or steps has to be followed by each and every model. So let's see the waterfall model concepts. See here, waterfall model follows Big Bang approach and also all or nothing approach. In Big Bang approach, it states that the product is delivered to the customer in one shot. That means the product is delivered to the customer only once, and that too after the completion of the product development. Okay, so this waterfall model also has all or nothing approach. That means here all the requirements are the complete requirements of the project has to be understood and specified in the requirement specification phase itself. Once the complete requirements are understood, then only we can move with the waterfall model following phases. If the complete requirements are not understood, then we cannot move with the next phases of waterfall model. Okay, so that is the disadvantage in waterfall model, because there is so many applications or project where it is very difficult to understand the complete requirement at the beginning itself. So for those type of projects or applications, we are going to use prototyping model. And in waterfall model, the risks are also very high, because in waterfall model, once the product development starts, in between anything happens, for example, money runs out or manpower problem occurs or some technology problem occurs, then we cannot proceed with the development. Then we has to stop the development process in the middle of the cycle. Okay, and in waterfall model, what happens here, there is no entertainment for the user requirement changes. That means once the requirements are finalized and the waterfall model proceed with the next phase, that is our design and analysis phase, then there is no room for requirement changes. Once the requirements are finalized, that is final. There is no change in requirement is entertained. Okay, that is in waterfall model. Whereas in prototyping model, see here, without the complete understanding of the requirements, project development can be proceeded. Here what happens in prototyping model, initial requirements are whatever the available initial requirements that are essential to move with the product development. Okay, and here in prototyping model, with the initial requirements, initial version of the product is developed. This initial version is called as prototype, and this prototype is delivered to the end user or customer or stakeholders or clients. Okay, and feedbacks are taken from the end users. These feedbacks are used to finalize the complete requirements of the final version of the product. Okay, once the feedbacks are collected, the requirement specifications are finalized, and these finalized requirement specifications are used to develop the final product of the given project. Okay, and after the completion of the project life cycle, that product is delivered to the customer. See here in prototyping model also, after finalizing the requirements, there is no accommodation for requirement changes. In both the waterfall and prototyping model, it will not allow any requirement changes once the requirements are finalized. That is the disadvantage. And in waterfall model, product is delivered at once, and that too after the completion of the product. Whereas in the prototyping model, the product is delivered twice. That is, initially the prototype is delivered, that is nothing but the initial version is delivered to the customer, and in the second delivery, the final version of the product is delivered. Okay. So here we are having a iterative model in order to overcome the disadvantages of waterfall model and prototyping model. What happens in iterative model? See, it uses incremental approach. That means here the product is delivered to the customer in increments. In first increment or the initial increment consists of the essential features. Okay, in the first increment development, the developers are going to include essential features and they are going to develop the initial or the first increment that will be delivered to the customer. After getting the feedback from the customer or end users, again the second incremental product is designed and developed. Okay, with the feedback of the first increment and also here the second increment, and also in the second increment few other features are added. Okay, and again in the third increment, after the second increment has got delivered, feedbacks are going to be collected on that second increment, and these feedbacks are going to be considered for the third increment design and development. So this process continues until the project goal is satisfied or until the objective of the project is met. So this is a iterative model. Okay, let's see our today's model, that is rational unified process model. See here we are going to learn phases of rational unified process model, advantages of rational unified process model, disadvantages of rational unified process model, a case study, and also few MCQs we are going to solve at the end of the session. Let's see what is rational unified process. In short, we can use RUP. This RUP is designed by IBM's Rational Company. See, initially this Rational Company was an individual company, but now it is working under IBM Company. Hence, we can say this RUP is designed by IBM's Rational Company. This RUP is an iterative process model. That means it follows incremental development approach. That means here the product is delivered to the customer in increments. Okay, in the first increment, some features are added to the product and that product is delivered to the customer. Feedbacks are collected from the customer and then these feedbacks are used to design and develop the second increment. And then again the second increment is delivered to the customer and feedbacks are collected, and based on that feedback, third increment is designed and developed and delivered to the customer. See here in each increments, developers are going to add new features based on the feedbacks taken from the previous increments. Okay, this is what iterative process model approach is. Next, the RUP is also an object-oriented development model. That means here the whole product is divided, or the whole product development is designed in terms of components. That means here in the beginning several components or in each phase several components are designed and developed, and these components are integrated in each and every phases or in each and every level, and finally we are going to get the complete product. Okay, the benefit of using this object oriented development is reusability. That means once the component is designed and developed, it is stored in some repository, and whenever the same requirement arises, we can use the already developed component instead of spending time and effort in developing the same component again and again. Okay, that is the benefit of using object oriented development. It also has some of the features which are very necessary for effective product development. That is inheritance, encapsulation, abstraction, multi-threading. There are so many other concepts which is used by object oriented development. Next, this RUP uses Unified Modeling Language. That is, in short, we can call it as UML. Students, you have studied entity relationship diagram in database management system in previous semesters, right? See here, ER diagram or entity relationship diagram are used to represent the logical structure of the database. In the same way, here, Unified Modeling Language is used to represent the high-level architecture of the product. Okay, this UML consists of use case diagrams, sequence diagrams, activity diagrams, integration diagrams, collaboration diagrams, etc. Okay, and in this unified modeling language, it uses to represent what are all the types of users needs to use the system, or it also identifies the users and the activity which the users are going to perform with the system, and what are all the sequence of the activities the users are going to be performed with the system. These are all represented using unified modeling language. Next is a rational unified process has consecutive phases. That means here RUP has a sequential phases. Here RUP has 4 phases, and after the completion of previous phase only the new phase or the next phase are going to be executed. Here no phases are going to be executed in parallel. That is the meaning of consecutive phases. Let's see what are all the phases we are having in rational unified process. The very first phase of RUP is inception phase, and the second one is elaboration phase. Third one is construction, and the fourth one is transition. So totally we are having 4 phases of RUP, and each phase has some well-defined milestones. That means after the completion of each phase, some objectives has to be met, and each phase has a specific purpose. Let's see these phases in detail. What are all the activities developers are going to be performed in each phase? The very first phase is inception phase. Input for this inception phase is project need and idea. See here, whenever there is a need, then only we are going to develop that product. That's why need is very essential in order to start or in order to begin a product development. Okay, after having a need, we should have an idea to develop that product. How to develop, when to develop, what to develop actually. That idea we should have in order to proceed with the project development life cycle. So here the basic input for inception phase is need and idea, we can say. Next, in this phase, the stakeholders and team members are communicate together in order to set the goals and scope of the project. That means here scope is nothing but the features and the functionality that should be included in our product, in our final product. And goals are nothing but the desired objectives of the project that has to be satisfied at the end. So this goal and scopes are identified and specified by the communication of team member and stakeholders. Okay, and next in this phase, the team members and stakeholder together specify the vision and high level capability of the product which has to be developed. Okay, see here vision is nothing but the future vision or how our product has to be looked, how our product looks like, that has to be designed. And here the high level capability or what the user wants from the product, that has to be specified in a high level, in a logical way. Okay, and the next thing is in this phase the developers or team members are going to identify the risks of the project. If the risks are too complex and difficult to manage, then the developers and stakeholders may decide to not to forward with the project. If the risks are very simple and manageable, then the team members and stakeholders together can decide to move with the project life cycle. So here that's why the next point is go or no go decision making. Based on the goal, scope, risk, vision, high level capability, based on evaluating all these things, here the team members and stakeholders are going to decide whether to go with the product or not to go with the product development process. Okay, so finally the output of this phase is project objectives. Let's see our next phase, that is elaboration phase. See here elaboration phase, that means here the name itself indicates that we are elaborating in this phase. Whatever we have learned in the previous phase, we are going to elaborate those things in this phase. Hence this is a elaboration phase. Obviously the input for this phase is objectives from the previous phase, that is inception phase. See here in this phase the requirements are analyzed. See in the previous phase we are also going to collect the requirements, and here the requirements collected are analyzed in deep and the essential requirements are identified and specified. Okay, so here after identifying the final requirements and specification, the detailed understanding of the project is done in this elaboration phase. And here the cost benefit analysis also analyzed. Okay, and in this elaboration phase, here the detailed study of the previous phase objectives are done. Hence the output of this elaboration phase is high level system architecture. This high level system architecture is designed by Unified Modeling Language. See, this high level system architecture includes the users, how the users are going to interact with the system, and what are all the activities the user is going to perform with the system, and what are all the sequences, and how one component in our system, how the components of systems are integrated with each other, how the collaboration of each components occurs. These are all we are going to represent using high level system architecture. So that is the output of this elaboration phase. Let's see our next phase, that is the construction phase. In construction phase, the input is high level system architecture from the elaboration phase, that is our previous phase. And in this phase, it is the phase where the actual development, where the actual building of the product is going to be done. That means the source code development is done in this phase. After coding the actual product, testing is also done in this phase. That's why we are calling it as build and test. Okay, so in the construction phase, actual product is built and tested. Output of this phase is initial operational product. That means initial working product. Let's see, after getting an initial operational product, what we are going to do in the next phase, that is the transition phase. In transition phase, the input is initial operational product, and this initial product is deployed in the client's environment. That we are doing in this transition phase. That means here, whatever the initial working product we are getting from the construction phase, that we are going to install in the client environment. That is called as deployment. After installing the product in a client's environment, that product is officially called as delivered. Okay, after the delivery, feedback is taken from the customers or end users. These feedbacks are used for the refinement of the product which has been already delivered. These feedbacks are used to refine the product in the next increment. These feedbacks are used to add features or extra features in the next increment in order to get the better version of the product. Okay, so these are all the 4 phases of rational unified process model. Let's see a rational unified process diagram. See, here we are having inception phase, where the output of this phase is life cycle objectives. See, here each phase has a milestone, that is the first phase has a milestone, that is the objectives, and the second phase has the milestone life cycle architecture. Third phase has the initial operational capability, and fourth phase has product release. See, here each phase has some objectives or milestones which has to be met after the completion of the phase. See, here after the completion of inception phase only, elaboration phase is going to be executed. After the completion of elaboration phase, construction phase is going to be executed. Okay, after the execution of construction phase, transition phase has been executed. See, here in each and every phase we are having iterations. Since RUP follows iterative model approach, here this RUP is going to incorporate iteration in each and every phase. That means if the developers are in the second phase, consider the developers are in the second phase, that is in the elaboration phase. And if any changes occurs in the requirement or in the user requirements, then if any changes occurs in the user requirement, then those changes are added and the second iteration is going to be implemented in the same phase itself. Okay. See, here in this elaboration phase, there are 2 iterations. And in the construction phase, there are 3 iterations. That means here in the construction phase, 3 times the user requirements are going to be changed, or the 3 incremental products are going to be delivered. And in the transition phase also, there are 2 increments. That means in the first increment, first incremental product is delivered, and in the second increment, second iterative product has been delivered. Or here we can understand that each and every phase has multiple iteration, which is necessary to accommodate any requirement changes. Okay, and here the speciality of RUP is in each and every phase it is going to execute all the activities of basic software development life cycle, that is the requirement analysis and design, implement, test, and then deployment, and also we are having project maintenance and configuration management. So these phases we can also call it as sub process. These sub process are going to be executed in each and every phases of RUP. That is the speciality of RUP. Okay. Let's see a mind mapping diagram for RUP. See here, RUP has 4 phases. Inception phase has these many activities: goal, scope, vision, go, no go decision making, and the output of this phase is project objectives. And the second phase is elaboration phase, where the activities of this phase is requirement specification, detailed project understanding, and cost benefit analysis. The output of this phase is high level architecture, which is developed using UML. And the third phase of RUP is construction phase. What are all the activities of construction phase? Build and test. The output of this phase is working product. And the fourth and the last phase is transition phase. Here the activities are deployment, delivery, and feedback. The output of this phase is product refinement. Okay, so this is a mind mapping diagram for RUP model, by seeing which you can easily remember the phases, the activities, and outputs involved in RUP. Okay, let's move on to our next added features of RUP model. See here, I have told in the previous slide that RUP, in each and every phases of RUP, the sub-process of project life cycle stages are going to be executed. That means here RUP separates the phases from tasks. Tasks are nothing but the sub-process, or the basic stages of process development life cycle. Okay, and it allows the task to perform within a phase, which I have already explained. Okay, and this RUP is very flexible because it allows requirement changes in each and every phase. RUP offers iteration of each phase within a cycle, that we have seen in a diagram. In each phases there were a iteration. Okay, let's see the sub processes which are going to be executed in each and every phase. See, in the inception phase, since we are collecting the requirements are high in inception phase. And here, since we are not doing any implementation activity, testing activity, or deployment activity, this is mentioned as nil. Okay. See, in the elaboration phase, we are analyzing the requirements collected in the previous phase. That's why here in the elaboration phase, requirements are high. That means requirement activity are high, and analysis and design is also high, because we are finally elaborating the requirements collected in the previous phase. Okay, and in the construction phase, since we are actually doing coding and testing, that is implementation and testing, this is high. This is mentioned as high. Okay, and in the last phase, this is the phase where we are going to deliver the product to the customer. That's why here the deployment and the configuration management is high. Okay, so these are all the sub processes, are the basic project life cycle stages which are going to be executed in each and every phases of RUP. Okay. So this is a RUP model. Let's see the advantages of Rational Unified Process Model. RUP emphasizes on accurate documentation, careful change request management, less time is required for integration, reuse of components, and training and tutorials easily available online. See here, for any project, documentation is must because these documents are used to understand the project in a better way. And in RUP, each and every phase, iterations occur. These iterations are because of the requirement changes. So hence RUP has careful change request management. And since RUP uses object-oriented development, in each and every level, components are integrated. The project is developed in terms of components, and in each level, these components are integrated. Thus, by reducing the final integration time, that is the advantages of Rational Unified Process Model. And here, the components which are already created that can be reused in RUP. That is also the advantages. And the training and tutorials are easily available online. Let's see the disadvantages of Rational Unified Process Model. See here, since we are having 4 phases in RUP and each phases has iterations and each iteration follows the 7 basic steps of software development process cycle. Here every team member need to be expert in their field, and the design is too complex and disorganized because here we are having so many components and so many integrations in between. Thus here at the low level, the design will be too complex, whereas at the high level, the design looks very simple. And here, the reuse of components will not be possible for a new technology. Okay, and the last advantage is integration throughout the process causes more issues during the stages of testing. See here, if in the first level, 4 components are integrated, and in the second level 2 components are integrated, and in the final level there is only one component is integrated and tested, then it is very difficult to understand from which components we are actually getting the error. That is the disadvantages of Rational Unified Process Model. Let's see a case study on RUP. See here, this is a problem scenario where a company by name XYZ, which is specialized in mobile phone application, currently working on developing a project P1, that is a P1 application, which is a new productivity enhanced application. Here the project name is P1, and here this XYZ company is agreed upon incremental delivery. If it is an incremental delivery, then we can adopt RUP model because in increments we can develop and deliver the product. Okay. So let's see in each and every phase what are all the activities the team members are going to perform. In inception phase, initial evaluation to scope the system is done and detailed principal model of P1 app is specified, and cost and schedule is also specified. Communication or agreement with stakeholders. See here, stakeholders and team members are communicated together in order to decide the final features and functionality of the product P1. Okay. Next, in the elaboration phase, more detailed evaluation of principal model is done. That is, the basic model evaluation is done in elaboration phase. And also development plan is created. And here risks are mitigated. That means risks are minimized in this phase. See here in the previous phase, that is in the inception phase, risks are identified and specified, whereas in the elaboration phase, risks are minimized. Okay, the next thing is the XYZ company team writes 80% of all use cases. See here in the elaboration phase, using UML, that is Unified Modeling Language, high-level architecture of the project is designed. Okay, that includes use cases. And the product final output of this elaboration phase is high-level architecture. Next, in the construction phase, actual product development is done. That is, build and test is done in the construction phase. See here, dedicated XYZ company team create and test the project. Quality analysis is done in construction phase. Here the output is operational software. That is nothing but P1 app. After developing the operational product, that product will be deployed and delivered in transition phase. See here, the P1 is released to the end user. XYZ company uploads the P1 to App Store. See here, the company uploads the newly developed app P1 to the App Store, from where the users can download and install and use this app to give a feedback. And after getting the feedback from the users, this product is refined in the next iteration. Okay, so after acceptance, the product P1 is formally declared closed. So this is a case study on RUP. Let's see few MCQs on RUP. See here, MCQ 1, guess the answer, students. Which one of the below is not one of the RUP life cycle phases? Inception, iteration, elaboration and transition. I think you have guessed it right, students. The correct answer is iteration. See here, inception, elaboration and transition are the phases of RUP, where iteration is the approach or the concept this RUP is following. Let's see our second question. RUP stands for Rational Unified Process. RUP is a software development process from Rational, a division of Dash. Option is Microsoft, IBM, Compaq, none of this. Guess the answer, students. Yes, you guessed it right. The correct answer is IBM. Let's see the third question. Which phase in the RUP is responsible for scoping the system and providing a basis for validating initial, costing and budget? Options are inception, elaboration, construction and transition. Let's see the answer, students. The correct answer is inception. See, in the inception phase, in the beginning phase only, we are going to estimate the cost and budget. And the last question is, how many times can every development phase be repeated in RUP? Options are 1, 4, 6, as many as needed until the main objectives are met. Let's see the answer, students. Yes, you guessed it right. The answer is as many as needed until the main objectives are met. See, since RUP follows iterative process model approach, here the product is delivered to the customers in increments until the main objectives are met. In the next session, I am going to explain time boxing model and introduction to agile process. These are all the references which I have used to create this content. Do join with me for the next session, students. Thank you.